According to the Washington Post, millions of families are at risk of eviction. Countless thousands of others have had to file bankruptcies or endure foreclosures. I've been poring through newspapers ever since May of 2021 in hopes of finding word of programs that can help me. My searches have been unsuccessful because story after story, article after article have for the most part told a one-sided account. $46 billion worth of programs have risen to be the champion of certain people affected by this crisis, the tenant. I have rarely found anything in mainstream media that conveyed my side of the story. I am the small landlord. I haven't received rent for my property since March of 2020. The newspapers say it's because of the pandemic. I say it's due to a select group of people who have chosen to use what is happening in the world to get over on people like me. This is my story. Hey y'all, today is the 31st of August and y'all, tomorrow's the 1st of September. So tomorrow, of course, we'll be paying our beautiful mortgages again. And our tenant, y'all's tenant, is still in the house. But we did speak to the sheriff department. So they did say, today's Tuesday. So they did say that Friday they picked up the eviction order from the court. So the eviction order from the court, I submitted it on Tuesday. I guess I'll insert dates. So I submitted it on Tuesday. Then it had to go back up to the judge to be signed off on. So we don't know how long that process took, if it was a same day thing or if it goes in a stack and certain days are the days where he goes through and signs. I mean, that seems to be more efficient, right? Than ad hoc willy-nilly. And then from there, the sheriff department picks them up, and the court said, the clerk at the court said that sheriff's department comes by like 3 times a day to pick these things up. So mine was picked up on Friday. So Tuesday to Friday picked up. I talked to the sheriff department yesterday, which was Monday, to verify it was picked up, because again, when I leave it off, you don't know if it's going to be signed. You don't know if some new moratorium went into place, some new act, some new whatever. So that was great, verifying that. Then they said that next step is the sheriff is going to call me. So I just come out and check my phone often. And now y'all's battery want to die when I got something to say. Let me pull over a little bit and change this. And we back. And then I'm realizing I have the fan up a little high so y'all can hear that. We don't want to hear that. All right, so yeah, and so we're just waiting for the sheriff department. So I just come out to my car and just really check on things, because I don't want to have these conversations in the office, obviously. I work in a cubicle. And so we'll see that. And so they said, so it could still be a couple of weeks out, the process. And they said that they then leave a notice on her door 48 hours after talking to me. I really do wish that she didn't get notice, because again, I do not trust this person. She has shown herself not to be honorable. She has shown herself to be a liar. She has shown herself to be just, all of those things. So I just feel like the least notice she has, the better for me and my property. Because once again, I gave her notice. The notice of please move out by July 31st, which she refused to do. So now this is a whole month later. So she bought herself another month. And she bought herself possibly into the middle of September. We're going to try to get this done as soon as possible. So my priority is that. So my priority isn't going to be traveling around. And I talked to Jay, so hopefully when I get my date, I can let him know, and he can be here as well for that. His schedule's not as flexible. as mine, my schedule is just basically like, yo, I ain't gonna be in today, and that's enough. But he actually has to request time off, get it approved, make sure that there are people there to cover the shift, all of that. They pretty much have their work schedule planned out because he's a supervisor, so it's like pretty much planned out for years to come. So he pretty much knows what days he's gonna be off way in advance. But of course, I can't schedule this eviction based off of when he's going to be off. We can't do that. I need to schedule it as soon as possible. That's what I want, as soon as possible, because this girl has been there for free for over a year, and that's just unacceptable. Like, ugh. That's how I feel about it. Ugh. So yeah. So that's where we are with that. And when I get some more news, I will come back and share with you all. Okay, guys. So I went to the mailbox. I went to my P.O. box. And I got a thing in the mail. And this is basically the warrant of restitution that I filled out. And this is the judge signed off on it. And so they mailed me a copy that I can barely read because it's the carbon thing. And it was like about 5-6 pages of carbon pages after what I was filling out that had to press through and bleed off onto these other things. So it can hardly be read. But he signed this and he stamped it with his stamp. And it showed that he signed this on... Is this 8/25? Yep, that says 8/25. So I did it on 8/24. I submitted this. And he signed it the next day on 8/25, which was a Wednesday. And then the sheriff picked this up on Friday. So that was actually pretty fast. But on this, they have, it was checkbox. The judgment for possession may not be redeemed. So I was looking at this like, what does that mean? It's marked twice. It says the court has determined that the plaintiff is entitled to possession. The judgment for possession may not be redeemed. Y'all, all of this legal language. I mean, I know I looked like a lawyer that day, but I really wasn't. So I had to Google, what does that mean? The judgment for possession may not be redeemed. And mind you, I was in the post office when I opened that up and was reading it, waiting in line to pick up some other stuff. Okay, so it basically says when a landlord gets judgment for possession, that means that they are entitled to the possession or regain physical control of the property. However, there is a short window, usually 4 days, where the tenant may pay the landlord the past due rent plus fees and costs, and the property is redeemed. Okay, so there we have it. So this means that the tenant can stay in the property. If the court ruled that the possession cannot be redeemed, that means that the tenant has no other option but to vacate the property or be removed by force through the sheriff. Let's take a screenshot of this. Wow. Because I was like, when you say the judgment for possession cannot be redeemed, I'm like, is that me? Like, I thought I had possession, but now you're telling me it can't be redeemed. I can't cash it in. I didn't know. So that's what that means. Okay. And so while I was reading this, I get the phone call from the sheriff.
Now, this day was Wednesday, September 1st. And I have no idea why I didn't say the date that the eviction was going to be set, but he set it for the very next Wednesday, 1 week later on September 8th.
Now, what I'm going to do now is call the property manager, because she says that she has connections with eviction assistance as far as people who can, locksmith, movers, people who can help on that front. So I'm going to give her a phone call, see what those prices are looking like, because I already know what the prices are looking like for some of the other agencies. So now that this is going down on Wednesday, I got to find a service that is available at that date, at that time, to do this job. Hey guys, so today is the next day. Whatever the next day is. Alright, so I am on my way to work this morning, but yesterday I did make a decision as far as the eviction company I'm going to use. No, I'm looking like that because, good gracious, this window is like steaming all the way up. Oh my gosh, you can't see. I cannot see. Okay, so the company has a funny name. And I'm trying to see, do I want to share this? Which, because of the name, it did not make it my first choice. Because the name is kind of... So yeah, so that name just sounded a little interesting, suspect. Hopefully, that first impression doesn't mean anything. Because obviously the job's not done yet. So we don't know until the job gets done. But let me tell you why I chose this company. Okay, so I called one company. So the sheriff gave me 3 companies to call for this situation, right? That the sheriff has. So in my mind, the sheriff is the first recommendation. If the company comes with a whole bunch of, you know, the sheriff doesn't want their time wasted either. And so that's recommendation number 1, the fact that it comes from the sheriff himself, who does the evictions personally. He's the eviction sheriff. And so therefore, so I called the first company. And that company I actually spoke to before and got quotes. And their quotes were very a la carte. Very specific. So what I do kind of like about that is you can piecemeal it. And if there's something that you do want done after the fact or whatever, you can always call this company up and hire it for that one thing. You don't have to do the whole kit and caboodle. However, the thing I don't like about it is the fact that it's a la carte. The fact that it adds up. So they charge one charge for a flat rate for an hour, and then it's added every hour after that. They add more money, right? I probably should have went over this stuff with you guys. Oh, no, let's just make that a separate video. And everything, like for instance, there was a part where if you wanted to have the house left in broom swept condition and do cart away service, it was going to cost you $35 per person per hour, and they send a minimum of 2 people. So that means 2 people, 35 a piece, $70. So let's just say $70 per hour plus the weight of the load that was being carted away. So there was never really a way to get a true handle on that number. Like 2 people, how long will it take them? And they couldn't give me averages. Like, oh, it usually takes about an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. We don't know, right? This window fogging up just sitting here. And so I was like, okay, this was adding up real fast, real soon. To take the things away after the eviction, after the stuff sits on the street for 4 to 24 hours, to haul it away after that was going to be the how much does it weigh fee and all of that. So there wasn't a way that I could say, this is going to cost me this amount. So anyways, I called the second company, You're Outta Here Evictions, and he told me it was going to be $12.50. So it's a flat rate of $12.50, and he was like, and here's what you get for your $12.50. You get X, Y, and Z, and you get like them moving the stuff out. He said he brings a 15-man crew. The other company, mind you, you had to hire the amount of people you wanted, and if it took them more than an hour to do that, you was charged per hour afterwards. So of course they try to sell you on just get the biggest crew, 20 people, and pay for that, and that was going to be like $1,200 something. So it's about to be about the same. However, it was about to be the $1,200 plus all of the add-ons, right? So this guy's like $12.50, 15-person crew, and he guaranteed, he said they get it done in under an hour. He said that pays for an hour and a half though, but he says they're in and out in under an hour. This is what they do. Boom, boom, boom. They make it happen. And then he was saying that that also includes if it takes them less than 10 minutes to get everything out the house, then they haul everything away. They come back and haul everything away for free. If it's more stuff than 10 minutes worth of work, he says they'll come back, but they discount what the free stuff, like however much the free stuff would have been. And then he says, then they add on whatever. But he said, he was pretty much saying like, don't even worry about that. Like he can probably just do it. But even then, he said it'd probably be like another $125. So it's not very reasonable. Then I asked him about the locksmith, and he said, well, you know what? You do $1,300. I'll go half with you on the locksmith. That will include the locksmith. So $1,300 will include the locksmith. I probably shouldn't say the company name because of the call. Anyways, $1,300 will include the locksmith, and that he said that was going to include getting us into the house in case my keys didn't work, plus changing the locks. I was like, okay. So that just sounds very fair. Now, what that won't include is the broom swept thing. But once again, I can hire outside of that and have that done, or I can do it myself if I'm feeling froggy, leaping all over this biatch. But yeah. So still wasn't finished collecting quotes at that point. So I wanted to call another company, which I did. And so I called like 3 times yesterday. Hold on, y'all. We gotta get our breakfast.
Good morning. How may I serve you?
Hello, may I have a chicken bowl? Does the meal come with, can I have a vanilla cold brew? Yeah.
Yeah. And it does come with like a side of hash brown.
Okay. So I called that third company, and they did not respond back. And this was all yesterday, like 11 a.m. and then 2 p.m. And then I did again at 5 p.m. just in case they were a small company that, you know how that goes. You may have a day job, and then therefore you really can only handle your extra company in the evening. So I did that, but I haven't heard back from them. So I just decided to move forward. Plus, when I called, their voicemail wasn't set up. So it was just a very blank voicemail. Like, it didn't even have the, you have reached whatever the number is, or whatever, you know, it was just like, you have reached. No words. Please leave them at, you know, that whole thing. So I was like, okay. And then the sheriff department also gave me a third company, but he also caveated with that company was out of the Tidewater area. But I guess they can make arrangements to come down. So that for that I was just like, you know. But so anyway, so I hired the one guy. Now I'm kind of nervous a little bit because I text him, because he asked me to text him with the details of what we spoke about. So I did. Set my email address, and then he said to send address confirming, and I gave him the property address, but I haven't heard anything back. But again, this was at 7 p.m. last night, so I'm gonna give it about maybe around noon today. I'll give a call, because I like voice confirmations, plus I like to receive something in my email saying here's the deal, because I'm nervous, y'all. I'm nervous that we're going to get there on the day, and what if whoever I hired isn't there, doesn't show up, something happened? And I feel like these people, they said they out of Richmond. I don't know, but this is their business, right? So they know what they're doing. I just think it's in my nature, since this is an unknown for me, to just kind of be like, I feel like I'm fingers crossed. While I know all is well and all things are working out, I also know that sometimes hiccups can happen, and I just really don't want any hiccups. I really want this to be on to the next step, and for this part to be done with, because we got to get on to the next step, y'all. We do. So that's where we are with that. All right, bye.